Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. This is 433 and Beyond, where we talk about places that we go, things that we do while we're there, and the ways that we capture our memories along the way. My name is Andrew, and I'm here with my daughter.
I'm Arwen.
So, Arwen, what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about planning stamps to collect in Philadelphia, where I live.
Okay, but you have not yet captured this.
But
Is a
this is a prospective planning,
forward-looking.
forward looking. In reality, I have gotten some of these stamps, but approaching this as if I hadn't, and ahead of the 4th of July, which is tomorrow, we're recording this on July 3rd, thinking about how we would approach a day in Philadelphia. In an ideal world, we would have done this 3 months ago, but I didn't think about it.
Are you actually going to do this tomorrow? Is this
We
the
might,
plan?
yeah.
That's very ambitious. So, aren't there going to be like 60 million people in Philadelphia?
Yeah, we might not. There are a lot of people in Philadelphia right now because of the World Cup and because of 250th. Um, I can see a stage from my window right now. So,
For 250?
yep.
Is Bruce Springsteen going to sing?
No, I forget who's gonna sing, but people.
So is this in competition with the DC show? Isn't there a big show in DC?
Yeah, but from what I see, the DC show isn't actually gathering that many people. Neither I do feel like more people are here for FIFA than they are for 250. Maybe that will feel different this weekend. But FIFA's felt like a bigger,
Why? Because FIFA's just the world. You mean the World Cup when you say
yes,
FIFA,
I
right?
mean the World Cup.
Um, you could have a million people come for 250, and there would be 10 million for FIFA. And
Sure, but this is just one place. I keep saying FIFA because I live near the FIFA fan fair, FIFA
the
fan fest,
FIFA.
that's the impact I'm seeing is not like actually it is the FIFA fan fest that is impacting my life. Um,
A bunch of people I work with took Tuesday off because they all work in New York. They went to see the England match, which I guess was in the Meadowlands, or was it
it's in the Jersey Stadium, I
the
think, the
Jersey
North Jersey
Stadium?
Stadium,
Which I call Meadowlands, but I know
New
that's
York
not real.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for me to get a real sense. It's a little surprising to me just because it's spread over so many cities, like that are so far apart. Um, and it's not
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff happening in LA, which is like
far.
not even in the same country.
Feels like it. Yeah. So we are gonna go get some of these tomorrow, but this is really kind of just in general, if you were in Philadelphia for a day, how could you handle?
Right.
Perhaps
So
even better to do that not for the 4th of July. It'd be quite
it's
crowded.
not like there's a special 4th of July stamp thing again. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
No. But I bet it's nice to have some of those stamps stamped as July 4th,
Yeah.
2026. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we were probably going to try to do that.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts?
So,
How are you approaching this?
if you're approaching planning a trip to Philadelphia, the first thing I would suggest you do is come to the parkstamps.org website, go to the master database. If you don't have a subscription to parkstamps.org, you should because it is an invaluable resource. I would put in the address of where you're staying. For the sake of this video, I put in City Hall, which is right in the center of Philadelphia. And then put in your radius. For this example, I'm thinking about July 4th weekend, and I don't want to drive anywhere. I think that would be terrible to do this weekend. So I'm thinking, what could I really get to by public transport or Uber or walk comfortably? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to uncheck baseball and state parks, although I don't anticipate that making a huge difference here, but those are two that I really tend to steer away from. I can come and I can take a look at my map. This looks like a pretty attainable radius for me. Right away, I see this one down here. Might not be worth it for me to go to, or it might be. It depends on what it is. If I was staying here, certainly I see a big cluster of stamp stamp locations here. That's interesting to me. I know that that's Old City, Philadelphia, so that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
The first thing I would recommend doing is coming in and looking at the sites themselves. So that's on this database what's listed in the dark gray. And that's things like the Ben Franklin National Memorial, the Edgar Allan Poe National Historic Site, the Gloria Dei Church National Historic Site. And I see right away that those each have really one stamp each. And now you might say, well, no, they clearly all have multiple stamps. And you need to make the decision that makes sense to you. But the process that Ash and I follow is that if the stamp is a, essentially a duplicate or a time limited stamp, we don't count that in like our ultimate collecting goal. So, for example, these are both Benjamin Franklin National Memorial stamps. One of them says NM or
Hmm.
MEM, one of them says National Memorial. We do not feel the need to collect both of those. Maybe you
Are
do.
they available at different locations
They are
or
available at different locations, but really
it's the same stamp?
it's the same stamp. And like this is available, I think, at the Franklin Institute, which is a science museum. These are available at Independence National Historic Park. Neither of them is available like at a memorial site. They're available at other like stamp hubs. And then this is just a museum. So we would count that as one stamp. So what I did over here, this is how we like to plan our stamps. I said, here's the memorial. This is where we could get it. I could also say that you can get it at the Franklin Institute. And I could note to myself that neither of these places is the Ben Franklin National Memorial. And I could look that up separately and say, oh, wait, that actually is in the Franklin Institute. So maybe I do want to go to the Franklin Institute to get that stamp because that is, hang on a second. See, this is a little bit confusing. This is talking about the Ben Franklin Museum. The Ben Franklin National Memorial is inside the Franklin Institute. It's this big statue. It's inside their
Oh,
memorial hall.
that's really interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah.
You never know. So maybe I don't want to get it at Independence National Historic Park. Maybe I actually do want to go to the Franklin Institute. So I'm noting that. The Edgar Allan Poe National Historic House or National Historic Site, excuse me, it's the same thing. Like, I don't feel like getting the full written out version and the acronym is necessary for me and Ash.
Yeah, although
And
I could totally see someone
yeah, that might be important to you. You
caring
might
about.
want every version. I feel like that's an administrative error that could
Yeah,
eventually be corrected, and it's not like important to me that I get both of them.
yeah.
If I go to both, I will put the other one in my extra stamp page. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. I will get it, but I don't feel the need. I don't feel like if I get this one and not this one, that I have not gotten the stamps I need for that site. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I could totally see it's like if you're collecting magic cards and there's a variant because of a printing
Right.
error or something like that.
That's how I feel about this. Um, I assume as someone who doesn't collect magic cards.
I can imagine that there's a lot of people in listening to this video right now who are literally jumping out of their skin
Yeah.
hearing us say that we don't care about these
Yeah.
variants.
But I
They're
just don't.
thinking, why else are you doing it except to get every variant that's
Yeah,
possible?
and I just don't. And
Yeah.
but make that decision. I also feel like well, I care a lot more about getting the stamp and going to the site. Like for example, neither of these is the Edgar Allan Poe house. So
Interesting.
why do I don't care about this one. I care about getting this one more probably because it's at the Edgar Allan Poe house.
Oh, well, that's a real clear distinction. Yeah.
You know? So that I care about. I do not
Can,
care about if I go, I will get the 250. If I go to some of these other ones that have like an anniversary stamp or a special stamp, I will get it on a bonus page. They're not they're not important to me, especially because I would like to keep track of how many of the 2026, the 250th stamps I get during 2026, but I'm not going to get them all. So to me, it feels like a failing effort to say I want to get all of them this year, and then I don't necessarily feel like collecting them after this year, count them the same way. So if that's
I
important to
think
you, like,
that's right.
yeah,
I agree with you. It'd be very interesting to look and think. In 2026, I got
these are the ones I got.
30 250th
Yeah.
champion.
And then this
Now,
is a bonus one.
I liked some of the bonus ones,
I like
but
them too, and I'll get them, but I don't count them as like a.
yeah. So going back up to the variants, like NHS versus National Historic Site,
Hmm.
um, I agree with you. Those are indistinguishable to
Yeah.
me. But compared to so in Shenandoah, you had Shenandoah National Park, and then it actually had a different wording. If you got a bird or a big
Yeah.
meadow,
So
that to
that's
me seems
different.
like a distinction. Yeah.
So that's more how I would think about something like Independence National Historic Park. Um, and the vocabulary here I think is a little confusing, but for something like Independence National Historic Park, I would say this is the site, but there are several stamp locations. So they have, for example, the Ben Franklin Museum is a stamp you can get there. It is its own location that you can go to. It
Hmm.
is the Franklin Court Printing Office is a stamp. It's its own location you can go to. This is an example. These are two variants of the same stamp, I would say, because they're both Franklin Court Printing Office stamps, but one has National Historic Park and one has NHP.
Yep. Is
Um,
that one we went to when we saw that person do the?
yeah,
Okay.
there's the Ben Franklin Museum. There's Franklin Court. And you'll notice that, like, for example, these are often available at the same places, but they're talking about different locations. I mean, in this example, they're not hugely different. Like the Franklin Court Printing Office is not far from the Ben Franklin Museum. In Shenandoah, they were sometimes quite far from one another. Like Big Meadows was quite far from wherever, Dickey
Hmm.
Ridge. Um, but you have to decide. Like we went to the Franklin Court Printing Office. We have not gone to the Ben Franklin Museum. So I would not get a Ben Franklin Museum stamp. We did get a Franklin Court Printing Office stamp.
Right.
Um, there's this one is a little the nomenclature, the rules are a little bit confusing and unclear, inconsistent. Like this is part of Independence National Historic Park. Like Franklin Court is part of Independence National Historic Park. But it doesn't say Independence National Historic Park on here.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's for
Yeah.
Declaration House. We ran into this a lot in DC, like this kind of like difference in how they label. But because this is listed as part of the Independence National Historic Park, I would put this like in the same category that I put the other ones. It is a place that I need to go, and it is its own thing. So is this. There's this kind of like overall Independence National Historic Park stamp. That is the one that I would want in an ideal world to put in my collector's edition passport. That's just like what I like to do. I don't think that's actually the one I have in my big passport. I think I put the Franklin Court Printing Office one in there, but if I were to go back and do it again now, that's what I would do. But you'll notice like these ones have Independence National Historic Park. Like I said, these ones have Philadelphia. That's a little irritating to me. But this is how I would come in and plan this is I would first try to pull together a list of all of these places. You see, here are two. The difference is just the acronym. This is another one. The difference is the acronym. And now we're down to bonus stamps and fixed date stamps, which I'll totally get if I get to it. Um, but I don't feel like I need to track it. Um, this is a National Historic Area. Definitely can get the stamp for that, but I'm going to use the ones I have now just as an example, and you would need to kind of come in and think about this. This is an example misspelled words or errors stamp because they misspelled Schuylkill, but you
I
can
mean,
see,
I'm not surprised they misspelled it.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I will actually, for the sake of completeness, just come in and throw these in here. Um, if you're planning a trip to Philadelphia, these are some of the places you can think about. This is an example. There's a lot of different variations. There's a misspelling, there's two different abbreviations, there's some fixed date stamps. Right now, I would still get this like 1916 to 2016 centennial stamp if I go. And we've done those. We've gotten those in bonus pages. I think I feel a little differently about the 250th stamps because they have their own passport. I want to somehow be able to show like these are the ones I went to in 2026. It's its own event, but I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do that yet. This is a cross-cutting group of stamps that we see a lot of in this area. I'm actually going to put it kind of in its own category. There's a lot of stamps for that. There's not necessarily a great place to put them in your book. Same with the Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route. So they, I think, kind of have their own category. For me personally, I would not like prioritize getting them over other stamps because they could be their own trip. You could take probably a pretty extensive road trip to do the Underground Railroad National Network to Freedom.
Yeah.
So I would look at all of these. I would think about where they're available. If I had a car and I had more flexibility, maybe I would expand my radius and see if there's like other sites nearby that I want to try to hit. Maybe I would check, like I can check the checklist for them and see are there any stamps that are kind of just outside. Oh, well, I see there are several stamps for the Schuylkill River Valley National Historic Area. I see just one of the stamp locations is coming up as being within 5 miles. If the stamp is grayed out, that means it's not available anymore. If I had a car, if I was willing to drive, maybe I would think about going to these other locations and seeing if I could like complete the area in this trip. But assuming that I don't have a car, which I don't want to drive this weekend, I'm not going to do that. But I could come in here and do that for all of these sites if that was something that was interesting to you. And then my next step in planning this would be to come to Google Maps and start typing in, for me, the locations, the stamp locations themselves. So not, or the site locations themselves, not necessarily where I'm going to get the stamp. Kind of have to use your best judgment in that. I feel like I know I can get to all of these stamp locations pretty easily. So my priority is making sure that none of the sites are super far away. Like if we had that happen in Richmond, for example, the stamp location was very easy for us to get to, but the actual battlefield it was referencing was half an hour away. And so checking that is important, but ideally you would actually come through and check both things. I'm not going to do that for the sake of time, but you would come in and check, okay, I know I can get the Ben Franklin National Memorial stamp at the Independence National Historic Park Visitor Center. I can come check that. I want to double check its hours. It's open 9 to 6. Maybe I'm going to write that down. Wrong one. Independence National Historic Park is open 9 to 6, but I actually want to go to the Franklin Institute where the actual stamp is. So I also want to double check that. This is a good example that the Franklin Institute is probably a 30 or 40-minute walk from the Independence Visitor Center. So if I was trying to get the stamp here and come to this location, I would want to plan that ahead. I like to come in and jot down the address, but another thing that I like to do is utilize Google Maps saved list function. So you'll see that I have some of these for different park sites, but I could make one for Philadelphia. I could add this. I could add all of the sites into it. As I'm looking at them, and the Edgar Allan Poe House, I'll realize pretty quickly is actually closed. They've been closed for a long time, and we thought for sure they would reopen for 250 for 4th of July, but they're still closed. So I don't know when they're going to reopen, but that's something I want to pay attention to. Like, I cannot get.
How do you add it to your Google list?
Good question. You come here and you click save. See, I've already saved it to this one site, but you can click
Oh, I see. Okay.
And you
All
can
right.
add a new list. And I could add a note. I could say it's closed. So I like to do that. And I really like having, for example, this big cancellation site. You'll see I haven't done like the whole country, but as I am thinking about places and places we might go and where we might get stamps, I'll add them in here so that when we are on the road somewhere, we can take a glance and just see if there happens to be a
Well,
site
that's
nearby.
very cool. And there isn't a view like this on the park database, or is
I think there are views available. And I think there are plenty of people that have made this into a map. What I think people tend to do is put either just the stamp location, just the stamp locations, or just the site locations. And for us, both are important. Like there is kind of this constant cross-referencing that we have to do to make sure, like,
yeah.
it wouldn't help for Ash and I's purely for stamp collecting purposes. It wouldn't help Ash and I to just go to the Franklin Institute if the stamp wasn't available there, or excuse me, to just go to, you know, uh, the Ben Franklin Museum if there wasn't a stamp available there. We'd want to make sure we were going to both the actual site and the stamp.
I
So
didn't. That's very good. I didn't know you were doing this. This when we were in Shenandoah, you hadn't evolved this yet.
no, although I have added a fair bit of that in. And another thing you can do on Google Maps that I find really helpful, just to take a small example, let's say I want to go, I know Edgar Allan Poe is closed, but I'd like to go to as many of these as I can. So what I'll come in and do is add all of
Yeah,
these.
add the direct. That's what I thought you were going to do. It's like,
So I do this a fair bit. I have the Ben Franklin Museum in there twice. Come in, add all of these. And this is a little bit, it's not really that time consuming. Google Maps makes it pretty easy to do. Oh, that jumps out at me right away that if I want to get that stamp, I need to that might be out of the scope of what I can do this trip if I don't have my car because that's pretty far north. But I'll leave it in for a little bit. I'll do this. And sometimes driving back from Richmond, we did this for multiple sites at a time. We kind of, whoops, that's Old City Hall in Richmond. That's not what we want. So we'll do this. We'll come in here sometimes and rearrange things to try to get
mhm.
like the most sensible path.
Like what if you were to take the Deschler house out of the loop?
So if I take Deschler House out, so I see already I am still doing kind of a lot of back and forth. So I could come in here and say, you know, can I make these a little bit more sensible? This is in there twice. I want to walk. I don't want to drive. And then it becomes actually quite a feasible little walk. And something else you can do, you can either send directions right to your phone or you can copy a link to this route and send it to whoever you want. So I will often copy this link and put it in a note on my phone so that like throughout the day I can pull this up and just see where are we going next or like what was our path plan for the
Yeah.
day. Um, I will also then make sure I didn't do this here, but come back in and make sure, okay, are we going to all the places where we need to actually get these stamps? Like, are there any outliers that I can't get here? Looks like all of them on a quick glance are available either at the Independence Hall East Wing Park Store, the Ben Franklin Museum info ticket desk, the visitor center. I would want to double check that one or all of those would be open, that I'm going to be able to get all of the stamps there. Sometimes, like this one is only available at Independence Hall East Wing Park Store. I know or I'm pretty sure that that's actually within the like paid ticket walls of Independence National Historic Park. I think Old City Hall might be too, maybe not. But, are there ones that I have to buy tickets for? Am I able to get these stamps without buying the ticket? Um, it tells you on this database how many locations each stamp is at. So you can tell right away, okay, this is only at one location. I want to make sure that location is open. You have a bit more wiggle room sometimes when there's more than one location. I do want the 250th stamp. I think that's fun. Crazy that it's now at 4 places. If you remember, I tried to go in the fall to get it, and it was at 0 because someone had stolen it from
Someone
the
has stolen it, yeah.
So now I certainly need to go back tomorrow and try to get this because I would really like this one. And one of the things that's great about this database is that people on it are generally pretty good at adding when they get stamps. I'm not very good at that. I find it a little tedious, but you can come in here, people add their stamps, people add where they got them from. It is a good thing to do because it makes it really helpful to like come in here and say, okay, somebody got this yesterday or 2 days ago. Somebody got this one, but it was in August of 2025. So that doesn't feel great to me. Or like if I look at Edgar Allan Poe, somebody got the stamp at the Independence Visitor Center. Helen. I wouldn't get it at the visitor center because you can't actually go to the house right now. The last time somebody got it actually at the house was in 2024 because it's been closed for renovation. So it is helpful to check that. It's helpful to update when you do get stamps if you have the time to come in here and add that because it does really help people. But
We've
that's
made it
our
pretty easy, right? You can do it right from here.
Yeah, you click add your stamp. You can upload an image if you want. I never do. You don't have to. You put the date and you put where you got the stamp. See, they even include, if you got it by mail. If it had multiple locations where you could get this stamp, it would let you pick. It will also then ask you to mark whether the stamp year is expired. None of these, I think, have an expired stamp year, but if there is an expired stamp year, there'll be a little note. And what that means is that it can't get up to 2026 or whatever current year it is anymore. So you can still get the stamp, but the year doesn't go high enough. That's how I would think about planning a trip prospectively about stamps. Like, make sure you're checking the hours or you will be disappointed. Make sure you're checking that sites are open or you will be disappointed. Check when people last got stamps or you could be disappointed. But have fun and go to fun new places also.
It should be good. Yeah. Well, so we can do a video next week to see what you actually did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can take some old videos along the way that
Yeah.
we can check and see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I would think about planning a trip to Philadelphia or anywhere that,
yes.
has a lot of stamps in the city limits.
Well, you have to let me know how you go, how you
I
do.
will.
I
I'll catch
imagine
you up.
it's gonna be bonkers if there's a World Cup match
Yeah.
and a bunch of
Right.
Patriots on the prowl.
Yeah, I don't know that there's really much happening in Old City, like event wise. So I think it will just be tourists, which certainly can be substantial enough, but we'll see. We'll report back.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect Independence Hall to be
Mobbed.
yeah, to just be.
I don't think we will try to go to Independence Hall tomorrow or the Liberty Bell, but I think we will go to the area, maybe go to Franklin Court, go
Yeah,
to Independence National Historic Park to get the 250th stamp because is a public visitor center that you go to get that.
good.
Not sure if you can hear, they're starting to sound check the stage.
I cannot hear it. No,
Wow,
it's not
that's
coming
good.
through on
Not picking
Zoom.
up. But
That's for
probably,
tomorrow, or is that tonight?
I don't know. I thought it was for tomorrow, but that makes me feel like it's for tonight. So that's
Good.
my cue to go.